thing. We cannot receive it unless the Israeli checking point in the sea, they will say it's okay, and once they know it's support, the Israeli refuse it, even though it was some survival materials, necessary medicines and so on. The Israeli refused anything to get into the country, even the fuel. We face that again, another big problem. Okay, sometimes we have some medicines for the people, for the refugees, but we cannot take them to the refugees. Why? Because there is no fuel in the country.
Yeah, sure.
So this is minor part, or just an example of the hardness of the work we were doing. So mainly, or as I told you, this is in brief what we did. So we were divided into 3 levels to work on.
Okay. May I ask you a question about the? You told me at the beginning it was. It's not the reason to soldiers for this war, but they were planned before. Why? Why do you think for this time? Why Israeli planned to attack?
Why they are planning to attack? Most sources say they were planning to attack. So why? Here the reason we can say, and which was announced very obviously and clearly by Ms. Condoleezza Rice when she said, now it is the birth of the new Middle East. Mm-hmm. So in this way, let's try to read it from this point. What does the new Middle East mean, and what is the shape of the new Middle East?
Yeah,
is it another new Iraq in the region? And let's read it from this way. What's happening in Palestine? First, they are killing the Palestinians on a daily basis, and no one's saying nothing. This could be part of the whole, but they name it as the peace process. And the new Middle East, we can read part of its shape from the resolution 1559, which is not implemented, because the 1559 asks the government to disarm Hezbollah. And here we must be very careful when we say Hezbollah. That doesn't mean Hezbollah in specific, that means the resistance for the Israeli in general, because we are part of the resistance too. Once you disarm Hezbollah, that means there is no more resistance for the Israeli. That means here you put the conditions you want to put, which is the new Middle East, which is another Iraq.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think of the UN? What about the UN?
With my full respect to UN resolutions and all what it is doing, we consider UN became just a tool in the American hands. And the most obvious example, again, we can have it, which is the new resolution 1701. And this is the first example. And the second obvious example, when Israel did the second Anna massacre, even Kofi Annan wasn't able to condemn the action, even though it was a massacre. If you ask why, okay, the Israeli bombed Anna, killed civilians. So why UN didn't even condemn? Simply the weapons were American weapons. Mm-hmm. That means very obvious. It became a tool in the US hands.
Could you tell me about after this war? First of all, could you tell me about the Hezbollah and Hezbollah's military? What do you think about this? Because when I speak with the people, with anybody, like, doesn't matter who is a Shia or Muslim or Sunni or Christian, they love him. They love Nasrallah and Hezbollah. And what do you think from your perspective is, could you tell me how can you describe Hezbollah for Lübnan and for the Middle East? This kind of description I'm asking to you.
What makes Hezbollah strong, we have first to see what was the role of the government in Lebanon. The government unfortunately worked on ignoring so many areas. and Hezbollah came to give the services, social services. Because if you go, you make a tour in Lebanon, you can find some villages completely ignored, even some of them that do not have electricity, even though we are living in the 21st century. With the services he did, plus with fighting Israel, and we have Israel as an enemy, he created a real social base for him. In this way, he represents the will of the people. That's why he became so lovely, because the government is not resisting, and the people want to resist. And if someone came to tell you, okay, I am with you to resist, sure, here you will give him your full support. That makes him very strong. And we cooperate with Hezbollah, not because he is Shiist or whatever. Okay, maybe he took some face, but he is resisting Israel. And Israel is an enemy who is occupying part of Lebanon. And sure, if we go to the history, we know that it occupies Palestine, as Palestine.
How it affects, I mean, Hezbollah's popularity, how it affects socialist movement in Lebanon and also in the Middle East?
The effects of Hezbollah, as from the socialist point of view, as a socialist, I believe in fair cases. If there is someone in wherever he is living and someone is oppressing him, as a socialist, it's my role to support this oppressed human being to be free and to have fair justice. So from this point of view, we are supporting Hezbollah, not more that, okay, we agree with Hezbollah from this point, but again, we disagree with him from being a religious party. Here, religious doesn't mean we are anti-religious, from different perspectives, from ideological point of view, we are helping each other to release this human being from his suffering, and especially from the Israeli occupation, because just living one day from the Israeli bombing in Beirut, you will know what does that mean. Once you are the Israeli not invaded Lebanon in '82, and whenever it wishes, it can get into Lebanon, kidnap whoever she wishes and leaves, killing whomever she wishes and leaves. All of these stories put you in one place, and we have to cooperate with whomever he or she or it could be as a political movement to free the people.
So, could you tell me something about the future? What's going to be happen? What's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
And another question inside.
What's going to happen now? To read it, from political point of view, we think the resolution 1701 is unfair resolution.